told my husband that my doctor knows more than him and refused to forgive him. Look, I never thought I'd be the type of person to have a screaming match in a hospital parking lot, but here we are. My husband Jake and I have been together for 6 years, married for 4, and this was our first real fight that made me question everything. I'm 33 weeks pregnant right now, and at 20 weeks my doctor told me I have something called placenta previa. Basically, my placenta is blocking the opening where the baby needs to come out. They said it might move as the baby grows, but mine never did. So I'm scheduled for a C-section in 3 weeks. The whole thing started getting real at 30 weeks when my doctor put me on strict restrictions. No running, no lifting anything over 10 pounds, no standing for more than 3 hours, and absolutely no sex or anything going near that area. She was super clear. Any bleeding could trigger preterm labor and put both me and the baby at risk. Jake has been losing his mind over the no sex rule. Every single day he'd bring it up. Every morning while I'm trying to eat my cereal without throwing up, he's making comments. When I'm trying to watch TV after work with my feet up because they're swollen like balloons, he's rubbing my shoulders, but really he's just working up to asking again. I kept explaining the doctor's orders, but he'd roll his eyes and say stuff like, "You're not made of glass," or "Doctors are so paranoid these days." I'm exhausted all the time, my back hurts, I can barely see my feet, and honestly, sex is the last thing on my mind anyway. 3 days ago, he came into our bedroom while I was folding tiny baby clothes and started this whole speech about how doctors exaggerate things for money and push unnecessary C-sections. He said my doctor was being dramatic and that one time wouldn't hurt anything. I tried to explain again about the bleeding risk, but he kept pushing. I was tired of fighting about it every single day. Part of me just wanted him to stop asking, and I guess I convinced myself that maybe he was right and the doctor was being overly cautious. So we had sex. About 2 hours later, I went to the bathroom and there was so much blood I thought I was dying. I'm talking bright red blood just pouring out of me. I started shaking and crying, thinking I was about to lose our baby at 33 weeks. I called my doctor's emergency line while Jake was in the living room watching some stupid action movie. She told me to come to the hospital immediately. The whole 20-minute drive there, I was sobbing, imagining holding a tiny premature baby who might not make it. Jake kept trying to hold my hand and saying, "It's probably nothing," but I could see he was scared too. His face was completely white and he kept gripping the steering wheel. When we got to the hospital, they hooked me up to monitors right away. The baby's heartbeat was strong, and after what felt like hours, the doctor said I wasn't in labor. The bleeding had stopped and everything looked okay, but it was definitely caused by the sex. That's when my doctor asked Jake to step outside. She started asking me questions about whether I did anything I wasn't supposed to do. She kept saying it wasn't accusatory and that she just needed to know if the bleeding was random or caused by something specific. When I told her about the sex, her whole expression changed. She went over all the restrictions again, then started pulling pamphlets out of a drawer. Domestic violence resources, phone numbers for counseling, information about partner pressure during pregnancy. She literally put them in my purse for me while explaining that what happened wasn't okay. I felt so embarrassed and stupid. Here's this professional woman telling me that my husband pressuring me into sex that could harm our baby is a form of abuse, and I'm sitting there in a hospital gown realizing she's right. When Jake got back in the car, I completely lost it. I screamed at him that my doctor knows more than him, that he could have killed our baby, and that I never wanted him to pressure me about anything medical ever again. He started apologizing immediately, and I could tell he was genuinely sorry and scared about what almost happened. But here's the thing. He apologized for 3 days straight, then asked me, "How long are you gonna make me apologize?" Like there's some timeline for getting over the fact that he ignored doctor's orders and put our baby at risk because he wanted sex. I told him at least until the baby is born, maybe longer.